and Ghetto, glitz and Ghetto, yeah, and Ghetto, glitz and Ghetto. The glitz and glamour is a setup because behind the scenes it really is ghetto. Yeah, I love that intro song. Oh my god, that's me on the track too. Because as artists, we do a lot of things. Okay. Either way, welcome to another episode of the Glitz and Ghetto podcast, where we talk all things entertainment industry, HBCU dance, and entertainment business. Because, baby, one thing about this industry, it is glitz and ghetto, but you're going to have your business together. You're going to know about HBCUs and how you transition from your HBCU to Hollywood, as well as how to keep all your things together inside of the entertainment industry. Because one thing about it, the industry can be glitz and ghetto, but you going to be glitz and glamorous. Okay? Before we get this episode started, let's get some housekeeping things out of the way. What's up? I am your host. I am Naderah. You can follow me on all social media platforms, Instagram and TikTok at @I am_Naderah. And I would love for you to follow this podcast on Instagram and YouTube at Glitz and _Ghetto. GHETTEAUX. And you can stream this on any streaming platform wherever you listen. So make sure you download, like, share, and subscribe, because we just trying to grow the community. We're just trying to get all artists together in a simple place where we can resonate and express ourselves and relate to one another, because nobody understands what we go through but us. Okay? And after the year that we had last year with all the things Diddy and that triggering me and all the things, honey, we need a place where we can come and be safe and talk about the things. And I'm going to talk to y'all from my experience, and I want to hear from you guys as well. So if you want to send us an email, shoot us an email at the email that you see on the screen. And it's also going to be inside of the show notes, because we want to hear from you guys. What questions do you have? What concerns do you have? What is it that you want to know about the entertainment industry? Because if you're in it already, you know that it's glitz and ghetto. If you're trying to get inside of it, you know that it's glitz and ghetto. And if you are already in it and you're just trying to level up, you definitely know that it is glitz and ghetto. So we want to make sure that this ride is not something that you're doing by yourself. Inside of the neighborhood, we all cousins, we all fam, and we want to make sure that everybody is thriving here on the Glitz and Ghetto podcast. So last episode, we got a little messy. We a little tease talking about what's going on in the ATL, child. But this episode, we're definitely going to reset things, rewind it a little bit. We're going to rewind it a little bit, and we're going to be talking about setting goals for 2026. Now, I know we're at the end of January, and this episode is out right now. But just because January passed by, you got 11 more months to get things together. So you can put a plan in place right now in order to make sure that you have a successful remainder of your year. We're not just going to let the first 30 days go by in the year and say that, oh, well, everything is a failure because I didn't do it in January. Sure, January is a great time to get started, but for those who know, you know that the real new year starts in March anyway. Okay, when the spring blossoms, you got January, February, March to get it together. So when March hits, you can blossom into this beautiful flower or butterfly, whatever it is that you want to be. Okay, so this episode is definitely going to be locking in on us setting our goals and things that we can put in place so that we can have a successful career as an entertainer. A lot of times as professional entertainers, we believe that, like, oh, I'm just going to go with the flow and my artistry is going to lead its way. And unfortunately, that's just not the way it happens. In the last episode, I talked about how you are a business, and all businesses have a plan. All businesses have a mission and a goal and a purpose in which they're seeking to go after. And so you have to have that same intention for yourself as a professional entertainer, whether it be a dancer, a singer, a musician, whatever it is that you want to do inside of the entertainment industry. You are an independent contractor. You are building a brand. And a lot of times your brand turns and develops into a media company before you even know it, because you are producing content for other people to consume. We're in the day and age of digital consumption. And so we got platforms like TikTok and Instagram and YouTube where you can make money from it. So you become a media company and brand within yourself, in addition to contracting your services to different productions as a talent. And so when we're talking about those things, we want to make sure that we are setting ourselves up for success. And so the way that I've been able to help not only myself, but over 400 entertainers prepare themselves financially and in a business sense inside of this industry is by helping them to and helping myself to set some goals. And so I'm going to put up on the screen an image of what I have done throughout my career, the way that I was able to get to the level of success that I'm at now, where I have a Grammy, where I have an Emmy, where I have performed with some of the biggest artists, movies, TV shows, Broadway tours, etc. I've done all the things, or off-Broadway shows or Broadway national tours, excuse me. The way I was able to do those things is by setting my intentions. And one of the first things that I want to talk to you guys about is my focus board. So the focus board is something that I developed myself. My sister is also a very creative person, and so she's always putting together these like images of things that she puts up on the wall. And just like, I don't know what your religious practice is or what your spiritual practice is, but my scripture tells me to write the vision and to make it plain so that those who see it can run with it. And so every single morning I have a focus board on my wall. So when I open my eyes, it is the very first thing I see, and it allows me to stay focused on my intentions, not only for the day, but for the week, for the month, and throughout the entire year. Okay. On this focus board, I have things like pray and meditate daily, work out 3 times a week. I am really trying to be better about my social media. Hence, I am filming more episodes of my podcast so that this can go up on YouTube and all the streaming platforms, Instagram, all those things, TikTok, etc. You want to make sure that I post 3 times a day. I haven't put the intention of I want to post on TikTok first and then Instagram second. Then I'm bulk filming content on Saturdays. This episode has been filmed on a Monday just because Saturday I had a gig, which I'm so thankful for. But we want to make sure that we're setting out time to bulk film content, okay? Because we gotta get the content somehow, some way, and then we gotta spend our weeks to edit it, okay? Post the podcast to YouTube twice a month. This month is January, and I've definitely hit my goal because you're seeing this episode in the month of January right now. You know what I'm saying? Attend 1 or 2 networking events every single month. The only way that you're going to build community is that you go out and you are networking and meeting people who are like-minded and people who are not only just in the arts industry. You want to meet people who are also just professionals, because those people are affiliated with brands. They need hosts. They need other things, for their companies. And they need people like you who are entertainers and creatives to come in and create those experiences for them at whatever company that they are. So make sure you go on to attend networking events. That's something that I have on my goal board. I'm not going to lie. I also had to put on there very intentionally to take dance classes on Wednesdays. Baby, when I say I'm booked and busy, I'm booked and busy. I got 3 jobs, okay? So I have to make intentional time to go and take class, because not only am I directing a company on Sundays and Mondays, I'm also teaching classes in the community on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I also, in between jobs for survival, I'm substitute teaching Monday through Friday. I got to go get the money in addition to taking income tax clients after that. So I have to have one day out of the week where I'm just like, Naderah, you have to feed your craft. Go and take a dance class on Wednesdays. And then I have set up that I take 2 vocal and acting lessons a month. Vocal lessons are very, very expensive, as well as acting classes are typically like workshop style. So they go on for like periods of time. It's not something that you just pop in. I haven't found any of those yet, but I'm looking forward to it. Either way, that is how my focus board is set up. So this helps me to make sure that I'm doing all the things that I need to do to make sure that I'm setting my goals intentionally, and to make sure that I am going forward in the year focused and very intentional about the things that I'm doing, because I got big goals and dreams. And this is something that I did when I first started my career. And again, it got me to the place where I wanted to go. And so now that I'm trying to level up and I'm trying to do other things, I have to refocus and take some of the things that worked for me in the past and add to those things so that I can continue to go forward. One of the biggest things that I wanted to set forward in my intentions this year is to produce more. I got myself into a position where I just became a vessel for other people's artwork. And I know that earlier on in my career, I spent a lot of time producing things. I produced my first EP. I put out my music. I produced a listening party. I produced events for people to come and watch my very first movie, Drumline a New Beat. I collaborated with other people. I put on camps. I produced a lot of things. And because I was producing and putting myself in a position to create things, a lot more energy was coming to me. So I wanted to set that goal and that intention to produce more. Another thing that I like to do is I'm a bit more like organized, and I'm going to say that it comes from my accounting background, using spreadsheets and things to really lay things out to make sense for my year. So I have a spreadsheet that I would love to give you all a consultation. I have a link inside of my bio on my Instagram for my financial page, which is Entertainers Financial. Shameless plug. We'll talk a little bit more about that throughout the episode. But I have it on Entertainers Financial, where you can set an appointment with me and we can go through a goal setting seminar, not even seminar, but just have a goal setting conversation with one another so that you can put yourself in a position to reflect on things that you did in the past and really think big picture about where you see yourself in the future, and we can work backwards. Some of the categories that I like to focus on for myself is the areas of finance, because the entertainment industry is very expensive. Okay. You got to have money to do this. I just remember when I put out my EP, I spent $15,000 on that project. And that doesn't sound like a lot of money to me now because I do very well for myself. However, when I was 21 years old, 22 years old, trying to make that happen, it was very expensive. And I thank God that I had a boyfriend that loved me very much and wanted to invest inside of my career. That's not the case for everybody. And we'll do another episode talking about boyfriends and spouses and sugar daddies and people who support your career. But truth be told, this career path is very expensive, from photo shoots to headshots to classes to workshops. And we'll talk about those things as well. It gets very expensive. So I have to put my finances first. That's primary. It's the first thing that we talk about when we're doing this spreadsheet. The next category that I like to talk about is my career and my business. What I do as a professional entertainer is my career, but I also have Entertainers Financial, and I also have this production company that's producing this podcast and all the content that you see right now. So we want to put those things into perspective. The next category that I want to go down is my creative endeavors. How do I create more of that content? What are the goals that I have for that? How do I want that to pan out? So it's almost like a subset of my career and business, but because I have a financial service business as well, I like to separate the two, from like business to creative. Then I have to put together my goals for my personal life. What are the things that I want to achieve for myself personally? I know that when I first started out in this industry, I spent a lot of my time, energy, and effort missing out on opportunities to go celebrate people's graduations and weddings and, family endeavors, because I was so focused on my career. And I felt like if I took time away from my career, I was going to miss the opportunity. And I do believe that to be true to this day. So I feel like you have to gauge it for yourself. But as a person who has been in this industry over 12 years now at this point, wow, that's a long time, who has been in this industry for over 12 years, this is going on year 13 that I've been in the industry, I have to make time and be intentional about spending more time with family and community and making time for my personal self, because if I'm not taking care of myself, then I'm not going to be good for these jobs. The last episode I talked about typecasting and how those things have impacts on your mental health and things of that nature. You have to take time to take care of yourself. So you have to set those goals intentionally, because if not, it'll fall to the back burner and your career will take over. And the last thing that I put on there is travel, because, in 2022, when I was filming The Color Purple over the summertime, I was in the middle of producing a camp, but I also was just like, I want to take a trip out of the country. So I planned a trip to go to Croatia for Yacht Week. And when I initially booked the trip, I was so terrified, because I'm just like, what if a job comes up around this time? What if all these things happen? And as luck would have it, the movie was filming one of the scenes that I was booked for at the time that my trip was. And of course I was devastated, but it ended up being a situation to where they reduced the amount of people that were in that particular scene. And because I had done another scene, the choreographer, Fatima, she was just like, oh, we're just going to take you out of the scene so we give other dancers an opportunity to get, some camera time. Of course I was devastated, because, nobody would give up their spot for me. So why I got to feel comfortable giving up my spot for somebody else? But that's neither here nor there. Yeah, they ended up like releasing me from that part of the job, and I had only done the washerwoman scene. So as luck would have it, I took the trip out of the country, had the time of my life, just clear waters, Croatia was beautiful. I went to the spa. I went to parties. It was just like we sailed to like different islands in Croatia and just really had a blast everywhere that we went. By the time I came back, I was in the middle of hosting my camp and I got a phone call from production and they said, hey, we ended up pushing filming back for this particular scene. Another dancer who we had and he can no longer do the job and we need somebody who could tap. Naderah, we know you can tap. Can you come to set now? And I said, you know what? I'm in the middle of my camp, but I really want this scene. Give me 2 hours and I will be to set. And so what I was able to do is to call somebody to come up to fill in for the space for me so I can go to set and go film real quick. I learned the choreography that day on the spot, filmed, and it was amazing. I filmed the next day as well. Whatever the case is, I had to build in time to travel because if I didn't take that time away, then I wouldn't have this full life experience. And I feel like if I had stayed, if I had not taken that trip to Croatia, if I had put my career before it, then I would have had regrets because at the end of the day, I ended up booking a job at the time that my travel plans were. But guess what? The job got pushed back. So imagine if I hadn't gone on that trip, I would have been in the country for no reason and I could have been enjoying my life. You have to enjoy life. You work really hard inside of this career. It can be very lucrative when you get to a certain position. And so, yes, I have to put out time for that travel. Okay, so those were 5 different categories that I talked about on that spreadsheet. If you would like to get a consult with me and we can sit down and have a conversation about this, I would love to help you to facilitate that. And I also provide financial and tax services as well. In addition to some of the resources that I have talked to you guys about, one of my good friends, I like to call her a mentor, but we're very close in age, but she came into the industry before me, and she was very instrumental in helping me to navigate the entertainment industry, and it's Sakina Lestage. She also has a 90-day planner, which is amazing. You want to look into that so that you can plan your life out by quarter. You can buy it 4 times in the year because there's 4 quarters in every year, and every 90 days you can set your intention and you can really plan out your goals, and this is what's going to help you. She's had a very successful career inside of the entertainment industry, and so she's a person that I love and respect, and I'm going to recommend that you guys get her 90-day planner as well. In addition to that, for some of my financial goals, some of the things that I like to do is a monthly budget. This is going to help you out in so many ways. Again, we talked about finances in the spreadsheet. The spreadsheet is good for those things. Of course, it's going to list out what your goals are for the entire year, but you need a month-to-month budget to look at what your income is and what your expenses are going to be so that you can put yourself in the most ideal situation. Too many artists have this mantra that I'm going to be the starving artist, and we don't have to starve. And also, we don't have to be in the position where, like, when we're on a job, we're rich and we're thriving and we're doing all the things. But the moment that the job is over, we're dead broke because we spent all our money on the road buying Rolexes, Gucci bags, Chanel, and all these sort of things. You have to plan for the future. If I could be totally transparent, last year was a doozy, okay? It was the first year, and I would say a very long time, that I had not worked consistently throughout the year. I was very much so confused. I had 2 commercial jobs in the entire year. I didn't book any like ongoing shows or anything like that. And while I was thankful for the opportunities, I was able to fulfill other parts of my life, and I was thankful for that. But the other parts of my life weren't as lucrative. Okay? So literally all last year, the only money that I primarily made was from my income tax business, which thank God that's, doing well enough to get me from January all the way to October. That was 10 months. But if I had not saved that money and put it in a position to where I had money stacked to the side, as well as the money that I made from tour to the tune of like $10,000 in my, readily available cash savings account, I didn't touch any of my long-term savings. I didn't touch any of my Roth IRAs, my 401ks, or anything like that because baby got to retire at some point, and I want to have a family and things of that nature. If I had not put together a monthly budget, I would have been ruined. Okay? Because the bills don't stop coming just because you don't have a gig. And I was in the position that like my life was set up such that for half of the year, the money that I made would be from taxes because from January to like April, May-ish, tax season is going on, and that's where my primary focus goes. And then from June all the way to December, which the industry cuts off right after or right before Thanksgiving, that's when I was going to be the time that I was making my money from the entertainment industry. And so those two things balance out to give me about a 6-figure income. But last year I didn't make 6 figures. And I still was able to live the lifestyle that I'm accustomed to living. Maybe I took a little less trips, but overall, because I had my financial budget in place, because I put money to the side, because I wasn't splurging on all the things that I'm accustomed to having, because the industry is so unpredictable in the country that we're living in right now, the economic state that we're in with inflation and, tariffs making things more expensive, it's not the time to be playing around. So we have to set financial goals as well. And so when we're talking about our monthly budget, we want to look at how much income do we have coming in, and that's from all sources derived. So do you have a regular 9-to-5 job? Are you working at a school? Are you working at a studio? What is that income like? Are you driving Uber? What are your extra sources of income? What are those extra things that you're doing on the side to make that money? In addition, add that income that you have month to month from the jobs that you may have done. You may do a job in January. You may do a job in January, but you might not get paid until February. Anybody who knows net 30 knows net 30. Okay. What does that monthly income look like? And then what are your monthly overhead fixed expenses that you know that you are going to have? Some of those things include gym. You're going to go take class. There might be a workshop that you want to go take, and that's not a fixed income. That's a variable one, but for sure your cell phone is a fixed item on your budget. That Wi-Fi, cable, rent, water, utilities, those are all things that are fixed. You have to get maintenance on your car. You have to put gas inside of your car. What does that look like for you? Write it all down. So you know how much money you need to make in order to cover your expenses. And then the money that you make, if it covers all those expenses and you have some left over, what are you going to do with that? Do you have a short-term savings? Do you have a long-term savings? Because again, this industry is so unpredictable. You may be in a position to where you don't work like I didn't work last year. And I'm praying to God that 2026 is not going to be the same thing. But if it is, are you prepared for those things? Do you have discretionary income put to the side so that you can survive in the midst of chaos? In addition to that, if the money's not coming in from the entertainment industry, what are you doing to produce income for yourself? Again, I talked about myself just being a vessel. How can you put yourself in a position to where you are the producer? The goal for me this year is to produce a whole lot more, because too many people I know who aren't creators are making a bag on social media. And it's a task for me. I prefer not to have to do it, but hey, it's the nature of the game. And if you're listening to this podcast, you understand that it is the nature of the game as well. Okay? With all those expenses and that income, I also want to give a shameless plug to my Entertainers Financial business, where we provide financial services to entertainers and entrepreneurs. We help you to put together the strategic plan and the financial plan necessary so that you can be successful inside of the entertainment industry. I have serviced over 400 entertainers and entrepreneurs. I've helped those 400 entertainers and entrepreneurs get back a total of $2.1 million and counting. And counting. And the goal is to help those individuals and you, who is the new listener, to make that much more money, to use your income tax refund check if that's what you get, or help to reduce your liability so you keep money inside of your pocket. But specifically helping you use that tax refund to fund your dreams, to put you in a position where something is saved. You're talking about life insurance policies, which we also provide that. Whole life insurance policy, term life insurance policies. Do you have that in place? You want to make sure that you're able to transfer generational wealth. Now, if you're in your 20s, you're just like, Naderah, you talking a whole lot of things, and I don't know that I want those things. I can also help you get a Roth IRA as well. If you want credit resolution, we can help you do that as well, because you need a car to get around inside of this industry. So what good is it to get a tax refund and you say, I'm going to go invest that money in getting me a car, but you got bad credit. So now you got to pay an abundance inside of your financing fees and your car note is high. Yes, that's a way that you can make money. You can get an Uber. You could be an Uber driver. You could be a Lyft driver. Those other ways for you to make money. But what good is that if your credit isn't where it needs to be so that you're not overpaying for this new expense that you've incurred? Okay. We provide financial tax services for federal and state for all 50 states. We know the tax code for every 50 states. And if you're an artist who went on tour and you got 50 states that you got to file, we can help you do that. We can also help you doing some financial planning, putting yourself together for life insurance policies, Roth IRAs. We can help you navigate that 401k plan. And we also have credit resolution services where if you want to fix your credit, we do have a team of people here that can help you walk through those steps. We don't guarantee you anything, but we do guarantee that we will give you the tools necessary that you can take with you in perpetuity to help yourself to maintain that higher credit score so that you can continue to win in life. Okay? The entertainment industry at the end of the day, and I'm going to say this pretty much every episode, it is a business. And those who win are those who plan. Proper preparation prevents piss poor performance, okay? Those are the P's that you always need to remember. If you set yourself up for success, then you will succeed. Nothing happens by happenstance, okay? Put forth the goals that are necessary for you to win because nobody else is going to do that for you. And make sure that you have balance inside of all these things. I know that you love your career so much. You're so passionate about it. It's the only thing you think about. It's the only thing you dream about. Yes, that's a wonderful thing, but also put yourself in a position to make sure that you can win across the board. I can't tell you how many contracts I got from people who are not professional dancers, actors, singers, etc. I got a deal with Visa in 2023 or 2024 because I networked with a woman at Visa. I have a line sister who works with a marketing company who connected me to Visa. I was at another marketing event or networking event, and I met someone that worked at Red Bull. Okay? My best friend knew somebody that was looking for someone that had expertise inside of the worlds of HBCU marching band and dance line. That connected the dots with me for Red Bull. Going to different events, meeting with people who are outside of your particular industry is going to open you up to so many more experiences. And you can't say I never taught you nothing. I'm giving you the cheat code. Okay? I don't have millions and billions of followers, but I do have a contractual rate because my resume is indicative of my rate. And I can show up to places and I can ask for things because I'm networking and the proof is in my pudding. So put yourself in a position to where you are operating yourself as a business. And also, you're not paying just yourself. So your rate has to reflect the people that you have to pay. If you're anything like me, you got a manager, you got an agent, you got a team that's working along with you. Yes, I'm a team of me when it comes to this podcast. And I started working with somebody before, but that's a different story for a different day. We will eventually get to the place where we have multiple employees that we have to pay. So make sure you're networking so that your net worth equals your net work. Either way, this has been a really exciting episode. I hope that this is helping you to figure out the steps that you need to take in order to set intentions and goals for yourself as this year continues on. It's just the beginning of the year. There's so many opportunities that are ahead of us, and I wish everybody the best on this journey. If you have any questions or anything that you would like to ask about your career or just anything you want to know about the entertainment industry, go ahead and shoot us an email at the email that is on the screen right now or it's inside of the show notes. Make sure you send us an email. We want to hear from you guys. We want to answer your questions. We want to make sure that you have the most glamorous experience inside of this glitz and ghetto industry, okay? It's been another episode, season 2 of the Glitz and Ghetteaux podcast. I'm your girl, Naderah. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow. And I'll see y'all on the next episode. See y'all soon. Peace. Sheesh. Yeah. Everybody want to be in entertainment till it's time to get down to the business. Yeah. It's all smoke and mirrors. What you can't see behind all public figures. Know you convinced by the glitz and the glam, but let's talk about how it really goes down. The sleepless nights, the sacrifice, your rate of pay, now you distress. Yeah, they want you to stay in your lane. Got too many talents with your claim to fame. Opportunities unlimited. Look at Naderah. That girl is living it in. She bringing out all of her friends to talk about it so you understand. They talk about all of the noise all over the blogs and in the tabloids. Teaching the industry lessons they learn. So tell them the volume so you don't get burnt. Film it
TV, she does that. Theatrical, she been that. And Glitz and Ghetteaux is our podcast to show you how to achieve that. You were born to entertain, but this ain't for leisure, you came to get paid. The Glitz and Glamour is a setup, cause behind the scenes, it really is ghetto. Yeah, Glitz and Ghetteaux, Glitz and Ghetteaux, yeah, Glitz and Ghetteaux, Glitz and Ghetteaux. You were born to entertain, but this ain't for leisure, you came to get paid. The Glitz and Glamour is a setup, cause behind the scenes, it really is ghetto. Yeah, Glitz and Ghetteaux, Glitz and Ghetteaux, yeah, Glitz and Ghetteaux, it's Glitz and Ghetteaux.